My sister left her 3 kids at my door, saying, "I'll be back in an hour." She never returned. 12 years later, she came back with a lawyer, claiming I'd stolen her children. I handed the judge one envelope, and everything changed. Hello, everyone. My name is Rachel Bennett. I'm 42 years old, and 12 years ago, my older sister stood on my front porch, holding 3 backpacks, and said 5 words that changed my life forever. Just 1 hour, promise. Then she kissed each of her children goodbye, walked to her car, drove away, and never came back. 12 years later, she walked into a courtroom beside an expensive attorney, pointed directly at me, and claimed I had kidnapped her children. The judge listened quietly, then looked at me. I stood, walked to the bench, placed one sealed envelope in front of him. He opened it, read the first page, then looked up at me. His face completely changed, quietly, so quietly that almost nobody else heard. He asked, "They still don't know?" I answered, "Not yet." Looking back, people often ask why I didn't see it coming. The truth is, I had spent my entire life believing family always came back. My sister, Vanessa, was 4 years older than me. Growing up, she was fearless, funny, the kind of person who could make an entire room laugh within minutes. People loved being around her, including me. When she married young, everyone thought she'd finally found stability. Instead, her marriage slowly collapsed. By the time she turned 30, she had 3 children, 8-year-old Liam, 6-year-old Emma, and 4-year-old Noah. Her husband had disappeared after filing for divorce. Child support rarely arrived. Bills piled up. Vanessa bounced between apartments, part-time jobs, friends' couches. I helped whenever I could. Sometimes groceries, sometimes babysitting, sometimes money. Never because I felt obligated, because those children deserved consistency. Every few weeks, Vanessa would call. "Can you watch them for an hour?" Usually it became 3, sometimes overnight. She always apologized. "I'll make it up to you." I always smiled. "You don't have to." The kids slowly became comfortable in my home. They had favorite pajamas, favorite cereal, favorite bedtime stories. Liam loved astronomy. Emma insisted every stuffed animal deserved its own blanket. Noah refused to sleep unless someone checked the closet twice. They weren't difficult children. They were children who needed stability. One rainy Tuesday evening, around 6 o'clock, someone knocked. I opened the door. Vanessa stood there holding 3 backpacks. She looked exhausted. Mascara streaked beneath her eyes. "I need one favor." "What happened?" "I've got a meeting." "What kind of meeting?" "Just an important one." She forced a smile. 1 hour. "I promise." The children hugged her goodbye. She kissed each forehead, then looked at me. "Thank you." An hour passed. Then 2. By midnight, her phone went straight to voicemail. The next morning, still nothing. By evening, I filed a missing person report. Police took the information seriously. Officers visited. Questions were asked. Hospitals contacted. Shelters checked. No one knew where Vanessa had gone. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Child Protective Services became involved almost immediately. The children remained with me temporarily, while everything was investigated. Every possible effort was made to find their mother. Advertisements, database searches, certified letters sent to every address anyone could locate. Nothing, not one response. Meanwhile, life continued. The children still needed breakfast, homework, doctor appointments, someone to tuck them into bed every night. Liam stopped asking when mom was coming home after about 6 months. Emma kept one of Vanessa's sweaters under her pillow for almost a year. Noah barely remembered her. That hurt more than anything. Nearly 18 months later, the family court held another hearing. The judge reviewed every report, every search effort, every recommendation from social workers, then asked me one question: "Are you willing to become their legal guardian?" I looked at the 3 children, sitting quietly together, Liam holding Emma's hand, Emma holding Noah's. I didn't hesitate. Yes, the guardianship was approved through the court. Over the following years, every major decision remained documented. School enrollment, medical care, counseling, financial records, everything, because the judge had given me one piece of advice: keep everything. In cases like this, documentation protects children. I took those words seriously. Every birthday, every report card, every medical appointment, every letter, every legal filing, every attempt anyone ever made to locate Vanessa, everything went into clearly labeled binders. Years passed. Slowly, our house stopped feeling temporary. It simply became home. Liam discovered robotics. Emma fell in love with music. Noah became obsessed with baseball. People often assumed they were my children. Eventually, correcting strangers stopped feeling important. Because family isn't always determined by biology. Sometimes, it's determined by who keeps showing up. Then, exactly 12 years after that rainy evening, someone knocked on my front door. Standing there was Vanessa. She looked older, healthier. Standing beside her was a man in an expensive gray suit, carrying a leather briefcase. "I'd like to see my children." I couldn't speak. Before I answered, the attorney stepped forward. "My client intends to regain custody. You unlawfully kept these children from their mother." I stared at him. "You have no idea what you're talking about." Vanessa folded her arms. "You stole them." My heart broke, not because of the accusation, because after 12 years, that was the first thing she'd chosen to say. The first court hearing was scheduled 6 weeks later. The children knew only that their biological mother had returned. They didn't yet know everything. Neither did Vanessa. On the morning of the hearing, I carried only one folder into the courthouse. Inside it rested one sealed envelope that had remained untouched for 12 years. I quietly placed it beside my attorney and waited. Sometimes, the truth doesn't arrive with a dramatic speech. Sometimes, it waits quietly inside a sealed envelope for exactly the right moment. As the judge looked toward the evidence table, my sister still believed the case was already over. She had no idea what had been preserved 12 years earlier, waiting for the day she finally came back. The courtroom was silent. Vanessa sat beside her attorney, looking confident. Across the room, Liam, Emma, and Noah sat with the court-appointed guardian ad litem. They were old enough now to understand something serious was happening, but not old enough to know every detail. The judge looked toward my attorney. "You indicated you have additional evidence." "Yes, Your Honor." I stood, walked calmly to the bench, and handed the judge the sealed envelope. He opened it carefully. Inside wasn't one document. It was several. The first was a notarized statement dated 12 years earlier. The second was a certified copy of the emergency guardianship petition. The third was a handwritten letter. The judge read the first page, then the second. Finally, he unfolded the letter. Halfway through reading it, he stopped, looked at me, then quietly asked, "They still don't know?" I shook my head. "No, Your Honor, not yet." He nodded slowly, then sealed the envelope again. Vanessa's attorney stood. "Your Honor, may we know what's in those documents?" "You will. But first," the judge turned toward Vanessa. "I have a question. When you left your children with your sister, did you contact them during the following week?" "No." "The following month?" "No." "The following year?" Vanessa looked uncomfortable. "No." 12 years? She lowered her eyes. "No." The judge looked at the court record. "I've reviewed extensive documentation, police reports, missing person investigations, child welfare records, published notices, certified letters, multiple court hearings." He looked directly at Vanessa. "Every reasonable effort was made to locate you." She quickly interrupted. I was struggling. I wasn't thinking clearly. "I understand." The judge's voice remained calm. "But struggling does not erase 12 years. Her attorney tried another approach. "My client has rebuilt her life. She is financially stable. She simply wants her children back." The judge looked toward the 3 teenagers. "They are not toddlers anymore. They are nearly adults. They also have legal rights." Then he looked back at the envelope. "I believe it's time." He nodded to my attorney. "You may proceed." My attorney carefully unfolded the handwritten letter. This letter was written by Vanessa 3 days after leaving the children. The courtroom became completely silent. My heart pounded, because until that moment, I had never read it aloud. My attorney began. "Rachel, if you're reading this, it means Michael finally gave you the envelope. I'm sorry. I know everyone will think I abandoned my children because I didn't love them. The truth is much uglier." Vanessa suddenly stood. "No, please, don't." The judge looked at her. "Sit down." She slowly sat. My attorney continued reading. "I owe dangerous people more money than I can ever repay. They've already threatened Liam after following him home from school. If I stay with the children, they won't stop until they find us. The safest place for them is with you." Gasps filled the courtroom. Even I had never known that part. Tears blurred my vision. The letter continued. "If I disappear, please don't spend your life looking for me. Protect them, raise them, tell them I loved them every single day. But don't tell them why until they're old enough to understand. If I ever come back, only believe me if I come back for them. Not for money, not because life became difficult, only because I finally became the mother they deserved." The courtroom remained completely silent. Vanessa covered her face, sobbing. "I wrote it. I never thought I'd survive." The judge folded the letter carefully, then asked quietly, "Why didn't you come back sooner?" She cried for several seconds before answering. "I was ashamed. I kept thinking, They were better off without me. And after a few years, I didn't know how to face them. The judge nodded. I believe your regret is genuine. But regret alone cannot erase 12 years. He looked toward Liam, Emma, and Noah. They know one mother. They know the woman who attended every parent-teacher conference. The woman who sat beside hospital beds. The woman who celebrated birthdays. The woman who raised them. He turned back toward Vanessa. Biology matters, but so does 12 years of daily love. After a brief recess, the judge returned with his decision. The existing guardianship and custodial orders will remain in place. There is no evidence these children were kidnapped. The evidence overwhelmingly shows lawful court proceedings and extraordinary care. He paused. However, if the children wish, they may begin rebuilding a relationship with their biological mother through counseling. The choice will belong to them, not the court, not me, not Vanessa. The children, when we left the courtroom, none of them ran toward Vanessa. None of them rejected her either. Liam quietly walked over. I have one question. She nodded through tears. Anything? Did you ever stop loving us? She immediately shook her head. Not for 1 second. Emma stepped forward. Then why didn't you write? Vanessa couldn't answer. Noah looked at me, then back at her. I don't know you. But maybe someday I can. She collapsed into tears. Not because she'd won, because she finally understood what 12 years had cost. Epilogue. Soft piano becomes lighter, carrying healing instead of heartbreak. It has been 5 years since that hearing. Liam is now an aerospace engineer. Emma is studying music education. Noah just graduated from college. They all still call me Mom, because that's who I became through 12 ordinary years of showing up. Vanessa remained in counseling. Slowly, carefully, she rebuilt a relationship with each of them, not by demanding forgiveness, by earning trust, one conversation at a time, one birthday, one holiday, one visit. Today, our family doesn't pretend those 12 years never happened. We simply refuse to let them define every year that followed. My thoughts. People often ask whether I hated my sister. The answer is no. I hated the pain her choices caused. But I also learned something important. Being a parent isn't defined by giving birth. It's defined by every ordinary day that follows. Packing lunches, helping with homework, listening after bad days, showing up, again and again. The envelope didn't win the case. The truth did. And the greatest victory wasn't keeping the children. It was making sure they finally knew they had always been loved by two women in very different ways. One who gave them life, and one who never stopped being there when they needed one.